IPMNation.com.
I don't know that he really has his plan.
He's full of fear. He is angry. He has a lot of hatred. He pouts.
It's all Trump.
Different story. It's a different story.
Well, she got a big lead in the polls, but now we're getting conflicting reports. Looks like Trump has taken Michigan. Trump has taken Florida. Trump has taken Ohio and Pennsylvania. What the hell is going on?
Now look at that moron. That's not the way you do it. Getting blackmailed by the KGB. Nah, that ain't working. It's not the way you do it. No money for nothing and no health care free. Nah, that ain't working. It's not the way you do it. Let me tell you, this guy is dumb. Grabbing women's crotches, giving middle fingers. Yeah, that's how he rolls his Donald Trump. Obama installed microwave ovens in my kitchen deliberately. We got to boot these illegal Muslims. We got to lose these crazy trannies. That little bigot getting comfy in the White House. Trump's his puppet, he's not even aware. That little bigot getting jiggy with the dark side. That's not Steve Bannon, that's Darth Vader right there. Obama installed microwave ovens in my kitchen deliberately. We got a great plan, we'll tell you later. But first we have to bomb the Chinese. I should have voted for Bernie Sanders. I should have learned to just play dumb. Look at that Obama, he's got appliances with cameras, man. At least his tweets are really fun. What's that? It's a Hawaiian lawsuit. We're gonna stop that a-hole and this lunacy. Nah, that ain't working. That's not the way you do it. No speaking in Russian, getting hookers to peas. Obama installed microwave ovens in my kitchen deliberately. We're gonna poison your drinking water. We're gonna chop down all of the trees. Here. That shit ain't working. That's not the way you do it. Top secret intel out on MTV. Yeah, that shit ain't working. That's not the way you do it. No money for nothing. No democracy. No money for nothing. No democracy. No money for nothing. No democracy.
CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency.
When you're a star, they let you do it.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the...
A White House review of Ivanka Trump's 2017 correspondence revealed she repeatedly used a personal account to conduct government business. That's according to the Washington Post, which says the White House advisor sent hundreds of messages to cabinet officials, administration aides, and assistants using that personal account. The extent of Trump's use of a private account was reportedly discovered after a nonpartisan watchdog group called American Oversight filed a Freedom of Information Act request last year. A spokesman for Trump's lawyer said she stopped using her personal account for official business after the White House explained she shouldn't be doing so. This reportedly happened after she finished transitioning into her government role. The spokesman continued, saying Trump mostly used her private email to send messages about logistics and scheduling concerning her family. And in what many outlets took to be a clear reference to Hillary Clinton, he said Trump didn't send any classified emails or delete any messages off the private server.
I stand up here giving speeches for an hour and a half, many times without notes.
Auto sequence starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's that time again. Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3, emanating from the winter wonderland known as downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, streaming at WMNHradio.org. Of course, you can find WMNH on the TuneIn app, so you can take us wherever you go on your mobile device. We're on channel 97 Comcast if you're in the Manchester, New Hampshire area. And, of course, we're on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. I already see Jenny in there, as well as Nicholas Stenkamp. Hi, Nick. How you doing? And today, of course, is November 20th, the year of our Lord, 2018, the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. 603-250-6007 is the number to call, 603-250-6007. And you know, it is Thanksgiving week, and I was thinking maybe for today, just for today, well, maybe today and tomorrow too, as we come up to Thanksgiving, it might be fun. It might be a nice thing to do to just, put politics completely aside, put politics on the shelf just for a little bit, maybe for a couple of days, and just, maybe I'll share some of my Thanksgiving memories from over the years with all of you. Maybe some of you would like to call in and share some of your Thanksgiving memories. Maybe we could all talk about what Thanksgiving means to us and just do something really nice like that and really focus on Thanksgiving and on family and all of that now that we're officially entering the holiday season. I think that would be nice. Excuse me. No, of course I'm kidding. I just threw up in my mouth. No, I will never do a show like... If you ever hear me actually do a show like that and I'm serious, then you'll know I've just given up. Someone will need to come here and put me out of my misery. No, I will never... oh, God. I remember years ago when I was Norm's co-host on... now it's called Norm's Community Corner. It used to be Norm and Friends, and this was way back when it was Norm's Psychic World. For those of you who don't know, Norm, of course, does a show here on Channel 23 in Manchester, and I was Norm's co-host for many, many years. And I remember the very first year that I was his co-host, he said, it was the week of Thanksgiving. It was the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, and we were talking about what to do on the show that day, and he said something about, he was asking me my opinion. He said, how about today's theme should be for this week's show? What does Thanksgiving mean to you? And we should all share Thanksgiving stories. And I just kind of looked at him like, oh God, do we have to do that? That's unbearable. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. Who's this?
For I am Ridley, and thou shalt hear my lamentations.
Hear your what? Levitations? You're levitating?
Lamentations.
Oh, I thought you said levitations. I thought maybe you were floating around or something. How are you, Dave Ridley? We haven't heard from you in, as my grandmother used to say, a month of Sundays, which is not literally true. But we haven't heard from you in a while. How are you, sir?
I apologize, but I'm back.
Well, you don't have to apologize. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. You owe us no apology or explanation. I'm just making an observation. We've missed you, and we've been very, very heartbroken and very worried and very concerned for your health and well-being. But don't worry. But you don't owe us any apology, Dave. No, it's all right. We've just been worried sick for weeks and weeks, fretting, and just, I haven't been able to sleep. But it's okay. You don't have to be sorry about anything. We're just glad you're okay. What's on your mind?
I'm also back in the sense of having a new series of videos up that are kind of interesting.
Oh.
I thought you might want to hear what happened to me.
Yes, let's hear what happened to you, Dave Ridley, and your lamentations as well.
Yes. Usually when I have some new videos, it means the government has done something to me. So what happened this time was when I went to vote, on Election Day in Winchester. I live in Winchester. And I went to vote, and I tried to document part of the process on film, video.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to stop me from filming part of the process that I was going through. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Which you've experienced many times. Them someone trying to stop you from filming. Yes.
Yeah. Well, if cameras weren't effective, they wouldn't do this. So I always look at it. It's the backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
But what they were saying was that you're not allowed to film. Part of the process was out and at this table. I was registering to vote, not just voting. But the registration process, they didn't give me too much grief. I was able to film that process. The lady who was registering me was pretty nice about it. As the town moderator, though, when I went to go over to the actual area, where they had that line where there's like A through D,
right.
E through G, and you step into one of those.
Yeah.
They say, "Are you registered?" Or "What's your name?" Or "I see you here on our list." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the part where they tried to stop me from filming, which is a pretty routine thing.
Yeah. So what was said to you exactly at that point?
Well, the moderator just said, "Well, I've just designated this area. There's this rope here, and you can't film on the other side of the rope." And the rationale for that was if you film on the other side of the rope, you might be close enough to someone that if you were evil and you tried to do it and you thought you could get away with it, you might film someone else's ballot.
Ah, yes. So, and what did you say?
Well, I said, I asked if he was, I said, what's the law, that would authorize you to make that decision that I can't film there? Because I didn't say this part to him, but it's not a home rule state. The only things towns and municipalities are allowed to do in New Hampshire, under the law anyway, is that which they are specifically granted the right to do by statute set by the state.
Mm-hmm.
So he would never answer that question. I think I asked him 3 times. What's the, again, what law would I be violating? What law are you acting under? That kind of thing. And he would never answer. He just read up. And eventually what he said, I guess there was sort of a pause. It took me a while to register because I wanted to read everything and I wanted to make sure I was not signing anything falsely.
Right.
I guess that freaks them out too. I guess I don't know. I guess most people just go in there and just sign it without reading it.
Of course.
But he came back. He said, "Well, I talked," and I got the impression he talked to the Secretary of State's office while I was there, but he may have talked to them earlier than that. I don't know. But he said he talked to the Secretary of State's office, and the person there told him that he could stop me from filming, basically. He could just set his own rules. And he decided that the rules would be, well, this is where the rope goes. This is beyond the point beyond which you can. I've never heard of anyone being forbidden from filming, completely forbidden from filming in any point.
Right.
in one of these areas. I mean, I've seen things happen at polling places, but I've never heard of anyone, being told this is a region where you can't film.
It's all about the rope, Dave. It's all about that damn rope. Once you're past the rope, it's like a whole different set of rules.
Right, but I think if somebody had come up and gotten in my face while I was inside that area, I would have just violated his edict. I would have gone ahead and filmed. But there was really nothing going on. There was not much going on in that area that was interesting. So I contented myself with audio recording there. And I did ask him, I said, well, so are you trying to ban audio recording too? And he just stopped talking to me at that point and kind of walked away.
Right.
By and large, though, I got to admit, he was pretty good about answering my questions. He was treating me as an equal. He wasn't being a fit. What's the right word? He wasn't being, acting superior or anything. He was obviously very scared of the camera. He was already a viewer of my channel, and he said he just is acting scared of me, basically.
Yeah. Was it an older gentleman?
Yes, his name's Dennis Murphy.
Okay. Because sometimes older folks, they'll get skittish in situations like that with a younger gentleman such as yourself. They think you might mug them or something, which you wouldn't do on camera, obviously, but I think that's part of what happens. They get nervous.
I wouldn't do it, period. But the
right.
other
Well, of course,
interesting thing that happened was, after I started filming for a few minutes, then I went over and started trying to fill out this form, and read the instructions and whatnot. And they had the way it's set up there. I don't think this was nefarious on their part, but the way the town hall is set up, if you're going to kind of go out of the way and fill out your form, you have to just sort of walk over to this side area, sort of sit, and do this. You just sort of walk up to this sort of a platform thing and write while you're standing up, basically, with your back to all the glaring bureaucrats. And one of them was a cop who was looking at me like he wanted to dismember me. You can just watch it on the video.
Oh, my.
But so I had to turn my back to everybody. Do you fill this out? And sure enough, some creepy dude comes over and looks over my shoulder while I'm filling it out and starts interrogating me. Who are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? What do you do? He reaches out and he lays hands on my paperwork that I'm filling out, or at least reading. Some of the documentation that I had out on the platform.
Wow.
He reaches out and lays hands on my stuff, that I'm filling out. It's got identity theft information in it, right?
Wow. Now, so were you filming or not filming at this point?
Well, I was audio taping while I was filling that out.
Okay.
But I had the camera set down so I could fill it out.
Yeah.
So as soon as that guy, first of all, he's just like, hey, what are you up to, And I started answering him and asked him if he's with the town and to make sure he was an official or not. And if he was an official, I was going to automatically film him.
Yeah.
But then I just thought, he's just a guy, he's just a civilian, I'm not going to film. But then he kept questioning me, and his questioning got more and more hostile. So I thought, I guess better start filming now. So that part's on. That's all. That's most. Well, I mean, the whole conversation is in the videos, but I didn't start filming until about 20 seconds after the guy approached me. I mean, again, he comes up behind me. I'm forced to put my back to everybody.
Right. So it sounds like, this was an attempt at intimidation, right? The way, it sure sounds it. The way you described it, the way he came up behind you.
In a sense, it was kind of like voter intimidation, but the thing that triggered him, he wasn't angry. He wouldn't have done anything if I just been voting. He was angry because I was filming one of the bureaucrats.
Yes. Now, was this also an older gentleman?
He was middle-aged, and I want to make sure I'm fair to him. He listed his reason for questioning me, and that was that he was worried that about he was hearing stories about people being filmed while they were voting, and being monitored while they were voting, and he sounded like he was kind of trying to stand up for the secret ballot, which is fine.
Right.
That part of his questioning is fine, and I don't object to his position there, but it was just, you just have to see the video. And that's one of those things why it's so important not to have he said, she said.
Right.
Eyewitness testimony is so unreliable. It's important to have this objective record of exactly what was said, exactly what expressions were on people's faces. I'd film me and them at the same time, probably, if I could.
Yeah.
If that were practical. But again, that's why you shouldn't have this area where that kind of thing is banned. Because what happens if someone gets in your face while you're in the voting, or right next to the voting booth, or you're right next to the lady who's taking down your information, or maybe telling you that you're not on the list, or whatever she's telling you.
Right.
That part, that if that's the area where you're not allowed to film, well, that's where the creepy people are going to come up to you and do things to you, or say things to you that you can't document without getting in trouble, I guess.
Yes. Well, but consider yourself fortunate. At least that police officer you were talking about didn't dismember you as you feared.
Well, no, actually, my arm. Where's my arm? He ripped my arm off.
That's humiliating.
He looked like he wanted to, and I'm not used to that. I've had, I've been in New Hampshire since '04, and I've had many interactions with the police. Not the kind that you would normally think of.
Right.
Not like them coming to my house.
Right.
Something like it. But it's more like I'm at political events where the police are trying to keep tabs on everybody, or I'm questioning the police at the State House when they come. You can't cross the hallway there without tripping over one of them that's there to testify or lobby against your freedom.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of cops, and I have only in 3 cases I can think of the whole 13, 14 years I've been here. I can only name 3 cases where a cop, was looking at me with that kind of glare.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. But you had no interaction with him, right? He didn't say anything to you, or no?
Well, when I looked at him, I'm like, wow. I didn't start filming him because he was standing there, but he was the way he was looking at me after I started filming someone else.
Yeah.
I thought, I need to get a picture of this, so I filmed him, glaring at me. You just see it in the video, and then he starts questioning me once I start filming him.
Oh, the cop questioned you. Okay.
Pardon?
He questioned you as well, the cop?
Well, yeah, some. I mean, he just said, I don't know why you'd feel the need to film me. So maybe it may have actually ended with a period, so technically maybe you wouldn't be considered questioning me.
Did you say anything back to him?
Well, I said, you look kind of serious. He just and he didn't change his expression that much. After I started filming, I think he looked a little angrier before I started filming than after.
Yeah.
You know how it is when you see a certain expression on someone's face, you want to capture it. By the time you got the camera aimed at them, they always look a little bit different.
Yeah. And especially if it's an officer of the law and you see a certain kind of expression, it's like, oh. All right. So you, at what point did you stop filming entirely?
After when I went past the rope, I was still filming.
Yeah.
And the lady who signed me up, the lady who registered me, started saying, "Oh, you're not going to want to film over there," and I just kind of ignored her and kept filming on the other side of this rope.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure I heard her actually. And I started filming again my interaction with a bureaucrat, this is all supposed to be on film, and if you want it to. And that's when the town moderator walked into the rope and said, "No, you can't. You got to stop filming now, and you can film where I permit you to film." It was that should be. I think that was an exact quote. You can film where I permit you to film.
Yeah. So you didn't film.
So at that point, then I walked back out. I said, "Okay, so you're stopping me from exercising my right to vote if I'm running the camera while I'm voting." So we had this back and forth. And whether I could audio tape and stuff like that, and I gradually backed out of the rope area. Then once it seemed to be established that I didn't have to stop audio taping, I thought, well, okay, I'll go ahead and turn the camera off, but leave the audio recorder running. Again, I've always got this sign on that says I'm audio taping, because audio taping is even more dangerous in New Hampshire than videotaping.
That's true.
Because you can in some rare cases you can be charged with wiretapping.
Right.
It has a chilling effect.
Yeah.
But as long as you've informed everybody, it's really difficult for a prosecution to happen or be successful.
Of course, yeah. Because they have to, for them to, bring any kind of a case for you, there has to be. I mean, if you're in a public place, there really is no reasonable expectation of privacy.
Not really.
Yeah,
but that hasn't stopped them, in some cases.
Right. Yeah.
But,
of course. Yeah.
There's a certain way to do it, and unfortunately, not everyone. A person who's just going about their life isn't going to know all the ins and outs of what they can do and not do.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, in the sense, it sort of creates, it recreates the old way the media used to be. Where there was this elite, set aside group of people who's the media, right? And they're gatekeepers and whatnot. But it turns it sort of creates and perpetuates that situation where there's just a few of us that kind of know how to exercise this right safely.
Yeah.
And it would be much better if everyone was just felt free to film,
Right, yeah. So were you able to vote? You just weren't able to film while you were actually voting?
Correct. I did vote. I have no idea whether they threw my ballot out the way they threw Lauren Connarton's out. She's a Winchester resident that says they destroyed her ballot or threw it away or something like that, ripped it up.
Really?
Those lines. I would expect, I would be almost surprised if they didn't do that to me too.
Wow. No kidding. You really think so? Because that's pretty serious if that was done.
Well, there's just no way to tell this.
There's
right. That's sort of the downside of secret ballot. I'm not against secret ballot. But if you think about it, if it's not all sort of out in the open, then it is really difficult to know exactly what happened to your one ballot.
Of course, yeah. No, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, you really have no way of knowing. I mean, the only way you could really know for sure is if you are literally the only person who voted for a particular candidate. And then it turned out that candidate got no votes, and then you would know, well, I voted for that person and they got 0 votes, so I guess something did happen to my ballot. And that's and obviously that would never happen, so that is the only way you could know. Yeah.
Well, did you hear what happened with Carla Garrick, where she got 20 or 30 votes on the Libertarian votes for her? She was the Libertarians voted for her as the Libertarian candidate, even though she was a Republican.
Yeah.
And those votes, I think there was supposed to be I don't remember the exact numbers. There was something there was 20, and they only counted one of them, and no one would have even known it, except the number was so small, and everybody was paying so much attention to this issue of her having this weird situation of getting 2 nominations,
right,
or winning 2 primaries at once.
Yeah,
this was so unusual that it actually got some scrutiny, and they noticed none of the votes were counted. Apparently, practically none of them.
Wow. Okay, well there you go. So there's an example of that. Well, I don't know if you heard the show right before the election. Gilletta Jarvis, who obviously was the Libertarian candidate for governor here in New Hampshire, she was on the show with me, and she was talking about how there were voting irregularities with the. With the absentee ballots and whatnot, because apparently some of those ballots had candidates missing, candidates who had won their primaries but somehow didn't end up on the ballots. And I guess the Secretary of State's office acknowledged that an error had been made, but they kind of shrugged well, what are you going to do? And it's come on. I mean, that's really serious. And I don't know if anything's been done to address it, but that's really bad. I mean, that's I don't know. I don't know what Bill Gardner has said about it, if anything, publicly, but that's not okay.
And you don't have to believe anything that I'm saying or believe anything that you're saying. The average person who's just skeptical of us, they're free to be skeptical of us, but just look at the ballot. It says it had Republican, and then it said Democrat, maybe it was Democrat, then Republican, I forget. In the third category, it said Libertarian and other candidates.
Right.
And they just stuck them all in this one little ghetto without even explaining which party each of them was with. So you could look at that Libertarian column and see all these names and not know whether any of them were libertarian or not, because it wasn't clear.
Right, because as I understood it, the libertarians were supposed to have their own column, right? I mean, that's how it's supposed to work. They qualified for that.
You would think, I mean, if they were being treated equally,
right,
then they'd be treated equally, wouldn't they?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, it's not right.
So this is the holy of holies of the United States, and the holy of holies of the freest, nicest state in the United States. The election process, like everything else, can be sort of screwed up. If that's working, right, then that's the most important thing they tell us. Well, everything else is screwed up, but at least you get to vote. Right? No, maybe you don't actually get to vote.
Yeah. John Hopwood is here too, by the way. He just pulled his mic up. Hello, John.
Hi. I want to know. Hi. I want to know where you get the idea that New Hampshire is the freest state. It's certainly one of the most corrupt, which is what you're describing. I think you have a cockeyed idea about.
I think you see that because you live here. I think if you lived somewhere else, you would
I lived 32 years, except I'd say 30 because 2 years I was in the Army in Germany. I lived most of my adult life in other places. I don't see any great freedom here in New Hampshire.
Well,
I can see in New York you had more
sort of like like if you're on a battlefield, speaking of the Army, if you're on a battlefield, you're going to see more of the enemy if you have good reconnaissance, right? So
what does that mean? I've been in other places.
We have good reconnaissance, and that's why we see so many of the problems. There are much worse out there in other states. We just don't see them.
This is as corrupt a state as I've been in, which is shocking to me. Having lived in New York, Connecticut, which that was a shocker, finding out about Connecticut. Massachusetts, of course, is up there with all-time corruption.
Well, part of the thing, though, when you're talking about what state is freest and what freest, there's so many different ways you can measure that, right? So it all depends. It all really depends on how you look at it.
Like
I mean,
birds that surround me.
Yes.
This state, Dave. No matter what you do, you can bring actual cases of malfeasance, which are outrageous, to authorities, but nothing's going to happen. This state doesn't have process. It doesn't have any way to tackle anything. And if it did, it would just ignore it. I mean, this state is in the bottom 5 when it comes to transparency. Neither the Democrats or Republicans give a damn about whistleblowing.
On paper. But again, if I were to go,
I'm sympathetic to what you're saying.
The stuff that I do here, if I were to try to do this in Massachusetts or in California or God alone knows Illinois, I would never come out of jail. I'd be there all the time.
That's not true.
Arrested for
but that's not
running
true.
the camera. In many cases, it's illegal to some extent in Illinois. So I just don't buy it. I think it's. In practice, I think it's much more transparent here.
No, but it's not. But you don't have any. You have nothing. To back you up. That evidence to back you up. This state ranks in the bottom 5. It's there with Arkansas and Mississippi.
For freedom.
If you consider being able to rob and steal and cover things up,
but in
freedom.
Practice, I mean, come on, John. You try to go to if you go to a state house in Austin or anywhere in the United States, they're going to have a frigging metal detector, with few exceptions.
And what?
They're not even gonna,
so it's free. You have a freedom to be shot by.
So but you can walk in and out of the somebody house, and you're not hassled.
So slaughtering somebody's freedom to you, the ability to commit murder. That's freedom.
I don't think that's what Dave is saying.
Sure, let's have.
I think you're using different metrics.
But no, that's ridiculous.
Which is fine.
It's free. I'm free because I can take a gun into the state house. Why would you want to take a gun into the state house?
Is that what he said?
Well, he's saying there's no metal detector.
Maybe because
anything
people
else,
like you don't want me to. It sounds like you don't.
Sure. Why don't you go and put a loaded pistol to somebody's head? But we got to remember that taxes are the real aggression, right? Not a loaded weapon. I mean, come on.
A loaded weapon would not be an act of aggression.
Yes, it is, because I've been around. You're ridiculous. You know nothing then about weapons or people that use them. That's ridiculous. But when you say about freedom, Matt and I have talked about this. We've talked about like whistleblowing law doesn't exist here. Anti-corruption doesn't exist here. Good government absolutely doesn't exist. And you talked about like libertarian leaning Republicans. You'd think that they would want to use laws like that to save money. They don't give a damn. Freedom, I guess, is running around the state house with a gun or a knife strapped to you. That's childish. That's adolescent.
Like I said, it all depends on what set of metrics you want to use.
I want to be free like the bluebirds that surround me.
But I think what Dave is saying, and tell me if I'm right, Dave, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like what you're saying is in terms of access to government, because we have a citizen legislature.
Oh, boy, that really works well, huh?
Well.
I got access to some boob running, some right-winger running as a Democrat in the D+2 district who's lying to me because nobody cares. Practically in half the districts, nobody cares about their state rep. I mean, a dog catcher has more status.
You don't think
than
access
rep.
to boobs is freedom? Okay. Well, we'll disagree on that. Well, that's what you said, isn't it? Or something like that.
It's pathetic.
Jenny in the Facebook live chat says, geez, Hoppy, is the sky falling too? Chicken Little. Oh, my goodness.
No, I would like to live in a state where crime is a crime, not where there are people can actually blow the whistle on stuff and it can be exposed rather than this state where everybody turns your back to everything.
Whistleblower protections.
It doesn't matter. In this state, in this city, people can do outrageous things because they know absolutely nothing is going to happen to them. It's something so ingrained in the culture here. It's just mind-boggling. It's like coming back into an episode of the Twilight Zone, and you're thinking, Jesus, what happened here?
Wow. All right. Well,
but I am sympathetic to some of most up to the point about the metal detector.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a clown college up in Concord. It's ridiculous.
Well, most of those are older folks. I don't think you'll find in college.
Even the I want a 19-year-old representing me in the state house because they have so much experience and stuff. Come on.
Well, you gentlemen might have to disagree on that.
I want a parliamentary democracy.
Like I said, different metrics, but
I can vote for the beer lovers party.
There you go. Anything else on your mind today, Dave Ridley?
That's it. Nothing else to add.
It's good hearing from you. I agreed with 90% of what you had to say.
Yes. John agrees more than you think. It just doesn't always come across. All right.
I'm cantankerous. I have too much Celtic blood.
Oh, my goodness.
You and I, we're like Thatcher and Gorbachev.
I don't like
that, but we love to talk.
I don't like taxes either.
There you go. Well, Dave, please give the Ridley Report a plug before you go.
It's RidleyReport.com. That's where the video is of the incident.
Yes, I look forward to watching that. All right, Dave, thank you so much for the call, my friend.
Taxes are theft.
All right, bye-bye. That was Dave Ridley from the RidleyReport.com. Hello to Rob Azevedo, host of Granite State of Mind, which you can hear right here on WMNH. Yes.
He had a good show the last show.
Absolutely. He had the rapper Etheric was on. Heidi Hamer also joins us in the Facebook live chat. And
the soon-to-be honorable Heidi Hamer.
Yes. When does she take the oath?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
She'll be part of the Clown College. Will you still call it a Clown College when the venerable Heidi Hamer is there?
Yes.
All right.
It doesn't mean everybody up there is a clown.
She's going to put everybody in line, I think. There'll be no more clowning around when Heidi's there. Wasn't that her campaign slogan? There'll be no more clowning around with
you know that it was, but they forced her to drop it.
Who forced her?
It was too sensitive. The Democratic Party.
Yes.
She did want to go with the clown motif. And this is absolutely true. It's a long-standing thing of hers. It's a shrieking clown. But they thought it was not in good taste.
Because it would scare some people.
It was too close to the bone. It was too
It's a very common phobia.
It was too real.
If you don't know, now you know.
So we learned something. That's amazing.
We did.
Yes. So, John, I was thinking about today, it's Thanksgiving this week. Maybe
it is.
Maybe we should tell some Thanksgiving stories.
That's why I came here. I have my pistol. I forgot to put my pistol. I was going to put you out of your misery.
What does Thanksgiving mean to you?
Nothing.
All right. Good.
I don't celebrate holidays, although I did get invited to.
What are you, a Jehovah's Witness? They don't celebrate holidays either. And I don't think Mormons do either, do they? I know Jehovah's Witnesses don't.
It's all crap. What does Thanksgiving mean to me? That the United States has gone to hell in a handbasket.
Outstanding.
Because it's rejected its white Anglo-Saxon Protestant past.
That's why
I winked at
Yes.
the Yeti over
Yes,
here.
you did. That's why we need to we need to take the U.S. out of the handbasket and put in a turkey for Thanksgiving.
A turkey, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Holy smoke.
So Jenny sent me a fun story. Apparently,
She did.
According to World News Daily report, in Canada, Canada has gone full legal with the cannabis.
Communist state.
So apparently the Hells Angels in Canada are suing the government for $2 billion in revenue loss over the legalization of marijuana.
In Quebec, they're one of the biggest organized criminal gangs.
Yes, they're actually suing the government. It's pretty incredible. The government says the Hells Angels chapter of the province of Quebec,
Quebec.
That's where Glenn is from, isn't it? Van Buren, Quebec, has filed a lawsuit against the Attorney General of Quebec.
Rochambeau.
Oh, Rochambeau, Quebec.
Rochambeau.
Seeking more than $2 billion in potential loss of revenue that legalization of marijuana will cost the biker organization.
I love little baby ducks.
Well, I think we all do. But isn't this why?
Pickup trucks.
Isn't this why we need to end the drug war? One of the reasons, because then you put the you put the drug dealers out of business, get it off the streets.
Well,
all the drug related crime. Why are you coughing?
Well, I tell you,
still
Matt,
sick?
The medicinal marijuana in Northern California was fronted by the big growers up in Marin County and north, and that was a good way to hawk some of their wares and to give themselves some PR.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came for the proposition to legalize marijuana in the Golden State, they were against it.
Yes.
Because it would have cut into their profits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you don't know, now you know.
I'm going to play that every time now after we learn something new.
Oh, that's thrilling.
I know, isn't it?
Hits me right there. You know what I mean?
Well, as it should.
Right in the gonads.
Wow. Okay, that's not good, actually. That's not a good place to be hit. Well, it's painful. The illegal production and consumption of non-medical cannabis was worth about $400 million last year.
It was.
In the province of Quebec alone, according to Statistics Canada analysis of the underground economy.
Statistics Canada.
So the Hells Angels.
Since I've read anything from them.
Yes. Well, the Hells Angels lawyer Brandon Tuggs says, quote, "We estimate that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's radical action of legalizing marijuana could cost my client's organization a potential loss of $2 billion in the next decade," unquote.
It's fiendish.
It is, yes.
They don't believe in free enterprise up in Connarton.
It's amazing this is a real story and not from The Onion.
Free.
I know, right, they're not free.
You can't, they don't even need metal detectors at Parliament.
Right. Oh. Or if you walk into a Hells Angels run bar. Let's see. Gino Willette, age 56, a Hells Angels member for the past 36 years, says, quote, "I've been selling weed since I'm 12 years old. Do you think I'm going to want to go to work at Walmart or McDonald's at minimum wage? I don't think so," unquote. Oh, my goodness. He also said, quote, "It's not the job of the federal government to regulate illegal drugs. They should take care of their own business and leave that to us," unquote. Canada is the first country.
They know what they're doing.
The Hells Angels?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And if you're a little behind on credit, they'll give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you pay, 6 or 5 every week until
I
break your legs?
I wouldn't know. Canada is the first country among developed nations to legalize marijuana. In the United States, a number of states currently legalized or decriminalized. A number of states have, rather, but it is still illegal at the federal level.
It is.
Well, maybe the Hells Angels will send someone to pay Justin Trudeau a little visit.
Is it illegal? It's taxed, but it's since 1935. But it's illegal because it's like, isn't it a Schedule 1 drug with heroin?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my.
Hopefully that'll change soon. Trump has even expressed an openness to that.
Only because he's after votes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People don't, when in doubt, speak gibberish.
I never asked you who you are today. I assumed you were John Hopwood. Forgive me if I was presumptuous. You're a man of many identities. You're John C. Hopwood. What's the C stand for today?
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin?
Psilocybin, right.
Hello to Chris Rose, who joins us in the Facebook live chat.
Yes. It said that the FDA is fast-tracking it as a treatment for PTSD and treatment-resistant depression.
Oh, very good.
Of course, they've had this since the 1950s.
Mm.
That's when Baba Ram Das, what was his name, Richard Alpert, when he was at Harvard, along with Timothy Leary. That's their first experiments. They went over to Marsh Chapel at BU because Harvard wouldn't let them experiment.
Oh.
And that was the first drug they used.
Oh,
for
okay.
alcoholism.
Oh, really?
It's supposed to be good for alcoholism. But, of course, then Tim Leary goes kind of hog wild.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Well, according to Reason.com, Representative Joe Kennedy III now says he supports legalization so the feds can regulate it because he had always been opposed to it.
He was.
And I'm sure this is completely coincidental, by the way.
It is.
Not only had he always been opposed to it, but he gets a lot of money from the pharmaceutical lobby. I know, it's shocking.
There's a pot lobby now, too.
Yes, there is. Well, that's necessary. There's always a lobby. Says here, despite his prior opposition to permitting the recreational use of cannabis, Representative Joe Kennedy III, Democrat of Massachusetts, announced today he supports legalizing cannabis at the federal level. He said, quote, given the rapid pace of state-level legalization and liberalization,
but they're for Joe Kennedy.
I believe we must implement strong, clear, and fair federal guidelines. To do that requires us to remove marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act and legalize it at the federal level, unquote.
There's Joe Kennedy Jr. or Joe Kennedy II, who died during World War II. Mm-hmm. Then there's Joe Kennedy II, who is the son of RFK, Robert Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Joe Kennedy III is probably the son of Joe Kennedy II.
There's a whole lot of Joe Kennedys.
What'd they do, just get rid of Joe Jr.? He was the one that was supposed to be president. But he had the unfortunate habit of dying during a war.
Well, that's not really a habit because you can only die once. I don't think you die out of habit.
Well,
habit implies something you do many times, actually.
I believe, though, that we live in a multitude, almost infinity.
Oh, the multiverse.
Of the same world, but it's just slightly different.
You believe the multiverse theory.
So he's been dying many times.
Right.
Over for eons.
But what if this is the only universe in the multiverse that he's died in, and in the rest of them he's alive? So again, your habit, it doesn't hold up.
It does, too.
I don't think it does. Kennedy's announcement is noteworthy considering that on multiple occasions he's spoken against legalization. He said, quote, I don't think marijuana should be legalized, he told Boston Magazine in September of 2016.
Because too many of his cousins might use it.
Well, that's a good point. Quote,
they don't already.
When we look at full-on legalization, the potential danger that marijuana poses, particularly to adolescents, I'm not convinced, unquote. And, of course, he said that while being handed a check by one of the pharmaceutical companies.
He's sick of politicians.
I made that last part up about him being handed a check, but he probably was.
Aren't you sick of politicians?
Well, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Trump's more popular than ever, according to the Gallup poll.
I'm sure he is. What's not to love? Now he's attacking General McRaven, who ran SEAL Team 6 and the operation to get bin Laden. I mean, why wouldn't he be popular, you know? What better way for a president to show how much he loves and support the military than by attacking the brave men and women who serve us? It's wonderful, really. Very exciting.
Well, he's always having press conferences in front of a big thing of the Medal of Honor. Doesn't that count for something?
That counts for everything, actually.
I was reading somebody was comparing him to Winston Churchill. At first, I thought it was from a conservative site that this has to be a satire. Right. You know, Winston Churchill was a very brave, courageous person who went off to war when he was a young guy.
Yeah.
He was the last cavalry charge in the British Army. He had incredible physical courage.
Right.
No.
Are you suggesting that Donald John Trump is not courageous? I mean, you're talking about a guy. I got to push back on this. You're talking about a guy who said
who knows how to grab a woman by
there is that, and that does take courage because that can get you in all kinds of legal trouble. But also, he said if he were standing, if he had been there, I forget what shooting it was at one of the schools, I think it was in Florida. He said if he had been there, he would have run into that building and disarmed the gunman himself. I mean, that's courage. I mean, granted, it's a hypothetical that'll never actually happen, but you got to admit there's some, I almost hate to use the word cojones because we know he's not so fond of some of our neighbors to the south, but it's the only word that, well, let's go with grapefruits. That takes a set of grapefruits to do that. Not that he would actually do that, but I mean, come on. I mean, that's courage.
I think that you're referring to the new replacement we've proposed for the Electoral College, balls. Getting behind the balls.
Right, and then you have to push the balls and roll them or something.
I have a feeling that the average Donald Trump voter could probably lob, let alone push, bigger balls than your average wimp, democratic, femocratic, stinking liberal communist. But I might be wrong.
That's documented, actually. There was a big study about that. I saw an article on Drudge.
And if you don't know, now you know.
They have been dealt a blow, the Trump administration.
Is this an alternative to our big balls lotto for the Electoral College replacement?
Nothing to do with it. Reuters.com reports Trump administration calls U.S. judge's asylum ruling absurd. The U.S. Department of Justice today said it would continue to defend Trump's decision to make immigrants who enter the country illegally from Mexico ineligible for asylum after a federal judge temporarily blocked the policy.
Yeah.
Trump cited an overwhelmed immigration system for his recent proclamation that officials will only process asylum claims for migrants who present themselves at an official port of entry along the border.
Oh, yeah.
But civil rights groups sued, and on Monday, U.S. District Judge John Tigar...
Tony the Tiger?
It's actually spelled Tigar, so it's probably Tigar or something, but I'm going to go with Tiger because I like it. Right. But I think I'm going to go with Tiger. I'm going to call him Tiger. John Tiger in San Francisco issued a temporary restraining order saying Congress has clearly allowed immigrants to apply for asylum regardless of how they entered the country. Yes.
I don't believe you.
It's true.
I don't believe practically anything you have to say.
Well, it's right here in black and white and a lot of other colors, too, because it's on a website. The Justice Department on Tuesday said it was absurd that Tiger allowed civil rights groups to have the ability, quote, to stop the entire federal government from acting so that illegal aliens can receive a government benefit to which they are not entitled, unquote.
Wasn't there a song by an Australian group called Big Balls?
You're thinking of AC/DC.
Did they indeed have it? It's from the late 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with politics?
Maybe early 80s. I forget what album that's on. Oh, no, it would be, well, it was Bon Scott singing. Nothing to do with politics, actually. AC/DC, not a political band.
Oh.
No. The asylum ruling came as thousands of Central Americans, including a large number of children, who are very, very dangerous, by the way, are traveling in caravans. Yes.
If they're strapped with bombs and,
exactly, which I'm sure they all are.
Or gas. They're extremely gassy from all the bad food while they're emigrating.
That's true, yes.
Oh, it's terrible.
They're traveling in caravans toward the U.S. border to escape violence and poverty at home. Some have already arrived in Tijuana, a Mexican city on the border with California. They have. The Justice Department said, quote, "We look forward to continuing to defend the executive branch's legitimate and well-reasoned exercise of its authority to address the crisis at our southern border," unquote.
It's too bad that we weren't on Matt Connarton Uncut in the after lunch or whatever, because I have a great joke about that. But
oh, my goodness, yes.
You've yet to be suspended.
That's right. That's for the other program that I do. You're thinking of Matt Connarton Unsheathed. That show is only available on the dark web, not here on WMNH.
It
that
is
other program, yes. And I'm legally prohibited from telling you how to find it. So
you are?
Yes, I am.
Well, bust my buttons.
Well, we don't want that.
How can there be 15?
15 what? In the caravan?
15 balls.
More like 1,500. Oh, I don't know. That sounds like
our favorite president is a very gifted individual physically.
philosophy.
Maybe that's what kept him out of the army.
Well, maybe, because how could you? I don't know how you could even wear a pair of pants at that rate. Are you a fan of CNN?
No, I'm not a fan of any television.
That's good, because according to E.W. Jackson, CNN is in league with Satan.
It is.
Can you even believe this?
They've yet to report on those babies and the birthday party they had up in heaven.
Well,
they're part of their anti-Kavanaugh bias, which is it's shameful, Matt.
It is shameful.
It is.
Well, let's hear E.W. Jackson. I want to hear him out. I know some of you listening probably think, no, CNN's not in league with Satan.
I think it is.
John thinks it is. John psilocybin Hopwood.
I'm in league with Satan, because I believe in our Christian God, so I should be an authority.
There you go.
How can you beat that logic?
I don't know. Well, let's hear out E.W. Jackson. Let's hear what his logic is.
Logic.
CNN was founded by a renowned, convicted atheist.
Convicted of atheism?
Oh, my.
As far as I know, he's not changed his mind.
My britches.
Ted Turner said that Christianity was ridiculous. The idea of somebody dying on the cross for other people, he ridiculed it and thought it was preposterous, thought it was just only stupid people could believe some nonsense like that. That's right. That's Ted Turner, the founder of CNN.
Oh, my goodness.
And that spirit, that antichrist anointing is still on that thing.
Oh.
Which is why their lead anchor is who he is.
Jake
okay,
Tapper.
I don't need to go any further than that, but he's a confused young
Tapper?
man.
Oh.
And it's because that spirit of atheism and anti-God and anti-Christian mindset just permeates that thing.
Yes.
So they're not going to get anything right because, when you're that off, see, I really believe this. When you're off spiritually like that, it's very hard to get anything else. If I went to a doctor and somebody said, well, he's a renowned surgeon, and everybody said, yeah, that's right. Now, he's an atheist. You know what? Find me another surgeon. I'm serious. I don't care how good he's supposed to be. Because I believe that when you're that off about the fundamental nature of life, I can't trust you with anything else. That's it. Sorry, I can't trust you with anything else. Because to me, you are in league with the spirit of Satan. And why would I want to entrust my life to you and give the devil a shot at me?
Oh.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So you have a network that's rooted and grounded in that philosophy. I wouldn't trust them with anything else because I know exactly what their root is. And when the root is poison, guess what? The fruit is poison.
So there you have it. CNN is in league with Satan.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Now, there is one giant gaping hole in that logic, and that is if you don't believe in God, you probably don't believe in Satan either, right? I don't think most atheists believe in Satan, so a little difficult to be in league with him. But well, let's not quibble with the great E.W. Jackson. I mean that would just be needless quibbling. We are approaching the top of the hour, and I've been drinking a lot of water, so let's take a little break. We'll play a little music. Let's see. I have a couple of things in mind. Let's, we'll go with this. I haven't played this in a while. I really like this track. It's called Land of the Free by a gentleman named Joey Badass, although he spells that with, instead of S's, with dollar signs, because he's a rapper. So, that's kind of one of the things they do. Let's take a little break. We're going to play that. We're going to play something else. I'm going to run down the hall. TMI, I know you don't need to know that, but you're listening to Matt Connarton Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, and more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes I think they don't truly understand me, because they don't. Can't change the world unless we change ourselves. Die from the sicknesses if we don't seek the health. All eyes be my witness when I speak was felt. Full house on my hands, the cards I was dealt. 3 Ks, 2 A's in America. I'm just a black space born out the nebula. And everything I do will say today that's worthwhile. Will for sure inspire action in your first child. I begin my first now. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words. Like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. I feel my ancestors arrested inside of me. It's like they want me to shoot my chance and change the society. But how do I go about it? Tell me where I start. My destiny rerouted when I chose to follow heart. You chose to follow suit, but tell me what it do for you. Except when you down, now you trapped inside the cubicle they built for us. The first step in the change is to take notice. Realize the real gains that they try to show us. 300 plus years of them cold shoulders. Yet 300 million of us still got no focus. Sorry, America, but I will not be your soldier. Obama just wasn't enough, I need some more closure. And Donald Trump is not equipped to take this country over. Let's face facts, cause we know what's the real motives. In the land of the free is for the freeloaders. Leave us dead in the street to be the organ donors. They disorganized my people, made us all loners. Still got the last names of our slave owners. In the land of the free is for the freeloaders. Leave us dead in the street to be the organ donors. They disorganized my people, made us all loners. Yeah, we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. Down from the sicknesses if we don't seek the help. All eyes be my witness when I speak was felt. Full house on my hands, the cards I was dealt. 3 Ks, 2 A's in America. I'm just a black space born out the nebula. And everything I do is say today that's worthwhile. Will for sure inspire action. Hold up, yeah. Trickery in the system, put my music in prison. All our history hidden, ain't no liberty given. We all fit the description of what the document's written. We've been lacking the vision and barely making a living. We too worried to fit in, while they been benefiting. Every time you submit it, we all guilty admitted. The law won't get you acquitted, but you still ask for forgiveness. Put opiates and syringes, then inject his religion. Now many times I gotta tell you I'm a man in a mission. Many times I gotta tell you I don't need no permission. A human with supervision, ain't no living condition. I'm reaching out to my children, just hoping that they will listen. Start a new coalition against corrupt politicians. It's not enough optimism, too many murder convictions. Nothing family evicted, nothing black man the victim. That's as real as it's getting. You should take recognition. In the land of the free is for the freeloaders. Leave us dead in the street to be the organ donors. They disorganized my people, made us all loners. Still got the last names of our slave owners. In the land of the free is for the freeloaders. Leave us dead in the street to be the organ donors. They disorganized my people, made us all loners. Yeah. We can't change the world unless we change ourselves. Down from the sicknesses if we don't seek the help. All eyes be my witness when I speak was felt. Full house on my hands, the cards I was dealt. 3 Ks, 2 A's in America. I'm just a black space born out the nebula. And everything I do is say today that's worthwhile. Will for sure inspire action in your first child. Yeah.
Mr. Putin, here I am. We put our best out. 3 felons won. So puff your chest out. We gained a Nazi, and as it was projected, Yahtzee. A dead pimp got elected. Just when I thought their chance was really wobbly, a snowflake avalanche came and robbed me. No blue wave, no blue wave is gonna rain on my
Very, very large brain. He said, Donald Trump, they don't know what to do. Never happened.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM on Channel 97 Comcast, if you're in Manchester. Of course, we're streaming at WMNHradio.org. And, of course, on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. John Psilocybin Hopwood is here.
Hey, I'm trying to look through these rose-colored glasses that all you other guys use. I'm having a lot of difficulty with them.
Well, what you're looking through is not rose-colored. It's America.
Patriotic.
You've got on those
red,
patriotic
white,
glasses.
And rose.
Yes.
Well, rose, white, and what's another color for blue? Cyan?
Or maybe aqua?
Aqua.
Who do you think should be Time Magazine's Person of the Year?
Me.
Well, I'm afraid you're out of the running because TheHill.com is reporting Trump says, I can't imagine anybody else other than myself for Time Person of the Year.
Hey, I think it should be our favorite president. He just announced he's standing.
Well, he agrees.
He's standing with Saudi Arabia, and he's defended the crown prince.
Of course.
And the damned Khashoggi, who was the man who was murdered and dismembered, who actually was a journalist for WAPO, the Washington Post, a paper he hates.
Saudi crown prince is a murderous dictator. Why wouldn't he stand with him? Duh.
I say this, that the crown prince would not have murdered this guy without the go-ahead from Donald Trump.
Wow. That's a strong statement.
Well, since he was under the protection of the United States,
he was supposed to be
as a refugee, I would say that, and it was in a country with a NATO ally. Where do they get they actually have the tape of this guy being dismembered. I mean, what are they trying to prove? That he is as ruthless, Trump, as anybody, that he doesn't care about anything, that he actually has signed off on political murder and the political murder of a journalist.
That's
because
pretty
isn't
scary.
it unusual that we just happen to have the tape from the Saudi embassy?
Yeah.
But stuff like that doesn't happen unless it is going to be given out leaked. Like when you found out during the Iran-Contra, Oliver North was talking about, we had to do this because of all the leakers, that he was the biggest leaker of all, just as the Reagan administration was.
Yeah.
So you're leaking something that would never have gotten out to anywhere. Why? To legitimate political murder and the political murder of a journalist. And so he can pledge his fealty to Crown Prince Mohammed, who's far more powerful than any American, any United States citizen.
Of course.
Or anybody.
Of course.
And so we live in a democracy. Let me put back on the rose-colored glasses.
There you go,
We can get in front of a flag or something. Because that's all that matters, Matt. The picture and people.
Yes. A reporter asked Trump as he prepared to depart the White House for his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, who deserved to finish second for the designation, telling the president he assumed who his choice for first would be. It's called Person of the Year, right? It's no longer Man of the Year, right? I don't know. That's up to Time Magazine. I've been there before. I can't imagine anybody else other than Trump. Ooh, he refers to himself in the third person now, huh?
I think that it should be the Crown Prince, Mohammed.
The publication earlier today released the results of a reader poll to pick the Person of the Year. Trump finished tied for 13th with 2% of the vote. Well, clearly that's fake news. Along with Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and special counsel Robert Mueller, among others. Oh, that's got to hurt. The top choice was South Korean boy band BTS.
What does BTS stand for?
I don't know.
Black Russian Terriers? Black Terrier? Maybe Saudi Terriers.
The magazine typically announces its editor's choice in December. Trump was named Times Person of the Year in 2016, with the magazine's editor saying at the time...
Hitler was it twice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was a polarizing figure who elicited opinions from individuals across the political spectrum. The president claimed in 2017, when he was named runner-up, that he turned down the honor, though the magazine refuted his claim. Time eventually named the Silence Breakers, including the women of the Me Too movement, its Person of the Year. So that was in 2017.
So this is all just crap.
I know, right?
It's all fake news.
Yes.
So it's meaningless. Anybody that needs information, you go to the professional press, or you know where to go get information than this stuff.
Well, you don't like thehill.com?
It's all of this is crap.
Oh, my goodness.
You're just focusing on window dressing. It's like you're, you and other Americans, anybody that watches cable news, it's like you're a baby in a crib and you're dangling something over it, something.
That's my approach to the show. Yes, I imagine myself as a baby in a crib.
A baby that spit out your, what do they call that?
Staring up at a mobile. Yes.
Not even a mobile. You have like
it's a mobile with Trump's face on it.
Some watch or it could be some pistol, knife. Because those things aren't dangerous.
Trump says he's going to visit a war zone, according to Politico.
But he's afraid.
Well, he is afraid. His bone spurs could worsen if he's in a war zone. But, this has been one of the criticisms of him. Even Obama went to war zones and visited. It says here, Trump rebuffed rumors that he's too afraid to visit. It's so easy to get under his skin. He rebuffed rumors that he's too afraid to visit U.S. troops, telling reporters that he does plan to visit a combat area at some point.
He can go to Warsaw.
There you go.
Camp Trump. I'm sure they could declare it a war zone.
Are you afraid to go into a war zone? A reporter asked Trump as he was leaving the White House on Tuesday for Mar-a-Lago. No, I'm going to a war zone, the president reported, without specifying which combat area he may go. You know what? It occurs to me. So Trump always said that...
like what occurred to a baby that spit out its pacifier and is waving its chubby little arms?
Perhaps. Trump did say that trying to dodge venereal disease was his personal Vietnam. So I wonder when he
I think that's all of us.
When he says he's going to a war zone, I wonder if that's a hint that he's planning to have another affair.
Oh, I got to apologize. Hitler didn't make it twice. Uncle Joe Stalin did.
Oh, okay.
39 and 42.
Well, he did kill even more people than Hitler, so he earned it.
It was the pact between the Soviet Union and Germany that allowed the dismemberment of Poland and started World War II. All the Reds, American Reds and fellow travelers, forget that little detail.
Yes, well.
Uncle Joe, the man of steel.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Ooh.
That's right.
The Ayatollah, I forget because Rich Girard has made himself a cover, himself the man of the year in Ayatollah garb. So,
that would be my vote.
He was used to that, up in Penardville.
So, yeah, we have here the Reuters reporting on what you were referring to earlier about Saudi Arabia. Trump stands by Saudi prince despite journalist Khashoggi's murder. This is the latest. It says Trump vowed today to remain a steadfast partner of Saudi Arabia, despite saying that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman may have known about the plan to murder dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi last month. Well,
he
Trump
gave the order.
Well, that's, according to Trump, it may have been him, but...
Could be other people also. There's a lot of people out there.
That's right.
Could have been Ivanka.
Could have been. Well, we might get to find out because apparently she doesn't use her email properly. So if those emails come out. Defying intense pressure from U.S. lawmakers to impose tougher sanctions on Saudi Arabia, Trump also said he would not cancel military contracts with the kingdom, claiming it would be a foolish move that would only benefit Russia and China.
Ooh.
Well, what's wrong with benefiting Russia all of a sudden? Trump said U.S. intelligence agencies were still studying the evidence around Khashoggi's murder inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October 2nd, and who planned it.
He got a close shave.
Huh? What, Khashoggi?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And then there was, and then he got into a fist fight with the barber. And it was during the fist fight he was accidentally dismembered, I think was the newest.
Same thing happened to Albert Anastasia in 1957 in that barbershop.
Of course, it can happen to anyone, really.
Little Nick. And, here's the
That's why I shave myself.
Capo di tutti capi, the boss of bosses. You've nicked him. What are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to just wipe him out?
Exactly.
Oh, you don't want somebody like that miffed.
So here's what Trump said. And again, this is history repeating because we all know that with the Russian hacking, everybody knows the Russians attempted to
Are you going to do a dramatic reading?
influence our election. No, because there's only one sentence here. But everybody knows that, right? Except Trump.
Everybody
He's the only
knows.
one who doesn't know. And here's history repeating itself. Here's what Trump said. It could very well be that the Crown Prince had knowledge of this tragic event. Maybe he did, and maybe he didn't, unquote. Trump said in an official statement issued by the White House.
Other people also. There's a lot of people out there.
His comments contradicted.
Could be Joel Elba. We haven't seen him in a long time.
That's true. We haven't seen the moose. He might have been murdering Khashoggi.
Trump's giving him a shave.
Oh, well, that which led to, yes. Trump's comments contradicted the CIA, which believes Khashoggi's death was ordered directly by the Crown Prince.
And how would they know that?
Oh, I don't know. I think they have
the deep state.
It's the deep.
Trump?
It's the deep state. They're out to get Khashoggi because
And
Khashoggi's
Trump.
with Trump, and they're out to get Trump.
Isn't Khashoggi dead?
Yes.
They're out to get Mohammed. They're out to get the CIA's out to get Prince
Oh,
Mohammed.
I'm sorry. I said Khashoggi.
And
I meant MBS.
Please,
yes.
the other agency.
Oh,
we want to be legally correct.
The company?
No, that's
So
just jargon.
Oh, okay.
But it's the other agency since
Oh.
Patriot Act 2.
Oh, right.
You don't see people in Congress in testimony referring to anything other than the other agency.
Oh.
Isn't it nice? It's
Actually, I
like
hadn't
being
noticed.
in France in 1917 when the military was under revolt and they shot the journalists and all that.
Oh.
But for Yankee Doodle Dandy, they're all speaking German.
Right.
Maybe they are.
Trump was quickly accused by Democratic lawmakers of undermining his own intelligence agencies and failing to confront Saudi Arabia over a human rights atrocity. Senator Dianne Feinstein said, quote, human rights is more than just a phrase. It has to mean something, and that means standing up and condemning a brazen murder by a foreign government. Everyone who played a role in this killing must be held accountable. Democratic and Republican lawmakers have urged Trump to drop his support for MBS over the Khashoggi case, but the president has been reluctant.
It's never going to happen.
No, it's not. Trump said today that both Saudi Arabia's King Salman and MBS, quote, vigorously deny any knowledge of the planning or execution of the murder, unquote.
If it was Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or Joe Biden, they'd all be kissing the same tune, but a little less more artfully than this jackass.
Well, I mean, he did say, he did say that they vigorously denied it, just like with Putin. Putin very strongly, it was a strong denial.
Were you there?
No, had I been there, I'm sure I would have been impressed with how vigorous and strong the denials are, and I would have said, you know what, I believe him.
What would you have done with the hot towels?
What?
When you get one of those shaves at a high-class joint, they put a hot towel around your face and stuff like that to get the beard. Well, they don't do that with the Yetis. You have to use the shears.
I would have done whatever it took to avoid a fist fight, which led to the dismemberment in the consulate.
They might have just mistaken him for somebody when you have a hot towel on your head.
That's true.
These things happen, Matt.
These things do happen. Trump also stressed that Saudi Arabia, a major oil producer, is an important business partner and a great ally in the fight against Iranian power in the Middle East. Well, that's not necessarily wrong, but that's also kind of not entirely the point. Trump said, quote, the United States intends to remain a steadfast partner of Saudi Arabia. Steadfast to ensure the interests of our country, Israel, and all other partners in the region.
Like that one-legged, steadfast tin soldier. That's our favorite president.
Yes. Do you think Trump knows what steadfast means, or someone had to explain it to him?
I think he knows what steadfast. He probably read Hans Christian Andersen.
You think he did?
Or it was read to him.
Right.
Probably by an immigrant.
Oh, no. Oh, I hope not.
His mother was an immigrant.
Oh, wow. Oh, we don't like to talk about that.
Do they have the part where he insists that Ivanka's emails are not like Hillary's?
Oh, we'll get to that. Adam Schiff, who is expected to become leader of the House of Representatives Intelligence Committee in January, said the U.S. should immediately end support for Saudi Arabia in the Yemen war. Well, that should have been done regardless. Suspend arms sales to the kingdom and reduce its reliance on Riyadh in the Middle East. Dick Durbin said, quote, the president adds to his track record of ignoring his own intelligence agencies and undermining American values at home and abroad by giving Saudi Arabia a pass for the brutal and premeditated murder of a U.S. resident and journalist. And there's even been tepid as it may be, because we don't like to question Daddy. But there has been a tiny bit of Republican criticism. It says here, some of Trump's fellow Republicans have also vowed to break from him and push for firmer U.S. action against the Saudis. Representative Francis Rooney, a Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and I've never heard of this person, said Washington should apply the so-called Magnitsky Act to those responsible for Khashoggi's death. Yes.
And that's something that I met one of those people. You know, they have a bed with magnets and they sleep on it. It's a better way.
No, that's
than hot towels.
That's the Magnitsky Act. It's slightly different. Yes.
I guess we don't really live in a free country.
Yes. Oh,
regulating magnets in bed.
Heidi Hamer, Representative-elect Heidi Hamer in the Facebook Live chat says, Hoppy, you got your driveway all cleaned out?
Why would I bother? It's melting.
Is that a euphemism for something? Like if I looked up driveway all cleaned out, if I looked that up on urbandictionary.com, would I find something upsetting?
Yes, and I'll have your hot water bottle back in a couple days.
Is that a euphemism for something? I feel like you're talking in code here. What does all this mean?
It's good, yeah.
Okay.
I talked German to Heidi, yeah.
Is this Francis Rooney? Is that literally the only Republican with anything critical to say of Trump on this? It looks like
from the Rooney family that own the Steelers.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I'm that probably is the only Republican who said anything. Like I said, we don't question Daddy. If Daddy says, he believes the prince, then we are all to believe the prince. Right?
Say what?
The prince.
Prince.
The prince.
The prince?
MBS. Which sounds like the name of like a financial firm. What's that? You open what folder did you open?
It's called My Dames.
Is it a folder of you getting your driveway cleaned out?
It's called My Dames.
You just sent me something in a text. Is this a copy of that? What's in that folder? Am I going to be upset if I look at this? Is it going to be something I can't unsee?
It's about a teacher that had multiple babies with her student.
Oh, a love story. I love these, especially it is the holidays.
Her father ran for president in 1972. On the American, what was George Wallace's party? American Independent Party or something like that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
All I know is in Birmingham, they love the governor. Boo-hoo-hoo. Governor. Convicted pedophile Mary Kay. Oh, I remember Mary Kay Letourneau. It's odd that I say that with delight. Convicted pedophile Mary Kay Letourneau reportedly back together with student-turned-husband Villy
Villy.
You know why I say that with delight? So here's what I remember about this. When Mary Kay Letourneau was in the news, it's not so much delight, but coincidentally, when I was a young lad, a wee lad going to St. John's Regional School up in Concord.
St. John the Episcopalian or St. John the Catholic?
The Catholic. St. John the Episcopalian, how dare you, sir? It was a good Catholic school.
Episcopalians are close.
Yeah, that's what my dad always told me, that if you're looking for Catholic light, go with the Episcopalians. But
you do believe that the host becomes the flesh of Christ, your Savior, and the wine becomes literally blood. What's that called? The transmogrification? Or is that what happens to Yetis?
What is that? Transubstantiation?
I thought that's what happened to Yetis when, the scratching post will no longer do.
That's blasphemy.
I hope so. Yeah, so this.
The reason
they're breaking up after a real love match.
Well, I didn't finish. So when I went to St. John's, I had a teacher named Miss Letourneau.
Ooh.
And she actually does vaguely resemble, not the same person, but she actually does vaguely resemble Mary Kay Letourneau. So it says here, by the way, this is not the first time something like this has happened where a teacher and a student ended up getting married or something after everything had blown over. There's another example of this, and I can't
seldom
remember the
are
names.
they the daughters of presidential candidates.
Well, there you go. So the former elementary school teacher, Mary Kay Letourneau, has reconciled with her student and
they're reconciled.
Who she had first had sex with when he was just 12, despite a plan to separate. The couple embarked on an illegal relationship more than 2 decades.
Illegal
for more than 2 decades. When
more than 2 decades.
When Mr. Fowlow was at high school and Letourneau was his teacher, they have since had 2 children together.
Oh yeah.
Fowlow, now 35, filed for separation last year. People magazine reported. They've been having issues for a while now. They tried to work through them, but it didn't work. They're still committed to being good parents to their children, a source told the publication at the time. However, it seems more than a year after they plan to break it off, they've had second thoughts, and now they're back together. That's good.
But this woman still doesn't think what she did was wrong, making love to a 12-year-old boy that was her student. And she's like 20 years older.
Well, I mean, I'm sure their children don't think it was wrong, or they wouldn't have been born. See?
You've beaten me into submission.
I know. That's what I do here on the show.
I just had a bowel movement in my britches, Mac Covington, and I'll never forgive you for that.
Is that what you mean about? Is that what the cleaning out your driveway thing is about?
Well, Heidi has some psychic gifts from the time Norm bestowed them on her, and she was anticipating what might happen.
I didn't know you could have psychicness bestowed upon you.
And if you don't know, now you know.
It's very exciting.
Well, you don't have psychic gifts now that you're no longer part of the Norm and Friends. Is it, what would you call it? Quotier?
Gautier? Yeah, that
Quotier.
song, Somebody That I Used to Know.
What do you call that when a group of people around the big star like
Entourage? Maybe
Entourage, but Glenn is busy, so he couldn't come and give us the actual French.
Oh,
yeah, let me look it up.
Yes, I haven't seen although Glenn was here yesterday with
he's upstairs.
His big beard.
Coterie.
Oh, Cautery?
Cautery.
I've always pronounced it Cautery. I know,
but it must be in French, Coterie.
Probably.
It means an intimate and often exclusive group of persons with a unifying common interest or purpose.
Oh.
Their purpose.
Well, oui.
Oh, yes. You were once part of the coterie of Norm.
Wow.
And, he bestowed certain psychic gifts on you.
For 7 years, I was Norm's co-host.
7
years.
7.
For 7 years, I had psychic gifts bestowed upon me.
7 years of psychic gifts.
But they didn't stick.
They didn't stick.
No.
That's part of it.
That's part of what? Being part of a coterie?
I guess he didn't inject them into you as far as he injected them to Heidi.
Oh, we're not going to... Wow. Jeez. All right, so...
They're waves, Matt.
I understand. Yes. Well, a joke occurred to me, but this
what
isn't.
What joke was that?
This
Matt?
isn't Matt Connarton unsheathed, so I'm going to withhold it. According to CNBC, Jenny had sent me this story. AT&T, Leidos, and Walmart have asked GOP Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith for their campaign donations back. Because of her hanging comments.
For her hanging comments?
Yeah. Did you see this? She made a... Well, here. So those 3 companies have asked Republican Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith of Mississippi today to return their campaign donations after getting criticized for their support of the lawmaker who had made a joke about attending a hypothetical public hanging of her opponent. 5 companies so far have asked Hyde-Smith...
What's so bad about that?
Well, her opponent is African American, and she's white. So there seems to be
She
a bit of
didn't use the word lynch, though.
No, she didn't. She went
She
with
didn't say,
public
like,
hanging.
I'd like to see him well hung, playing off vulgar stereotypes.
Right. No, she didn't say that.
Oh, you politically corrupt types. Corrupt or correct? Correct. Oh, why don't you take the ball and push it?
Walmart, in a tweeted reply to Will and Grace star Deborah Messing this morning, said it completely understood her concern about the donation to Hyde Smith, who is headed for...
Is she a Scientologist?
Is she?
I think so.
Who, Deborah Messing?
I think so.
I have no idea. Hyde Smith is headed for a runoff election against Democratic challenger Mike Espy, a former U.S. Agriculture Secretary.
Oh, my God, look at this. It's a folder. Oh, jeez. You don't have to care. It was called Filthy Mel. It was,
I
sir.
can, yeah.
Oh, man, where did that come out of?
I've seen those pictures and found them underwhelming. No.
Unlike Flower Pot himself.
Right. Yes, they got a rise out of him, apparently, but not me. Walmart said in a tweet, quote, Senator Hyde Smith's recent comments clearly do not reflect the values of our company and associates.
Oh, no, of course not.
As a result, we are withdrawing our support and requesting a refund of all campaign donations, unquote.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a good policy for any candidate.
Later today, when asked by CNBC about its own donation to Hyde Smith.
Oh, look at this.
And I don't want to. I've already seen those. What? Oh, sexiest man. Is that the late Steve Valancourt?
Aye.
Yes.
He made the cover of People.
Yes.
Why can't I be the Time Man of the Year, Person of the Year?
Or sexiest man alive? Oh, that's People magazine.
I'll never be that.
Well, you can dream. So AT&T, an AT&T spokesman was asked and said, we are no longer supporting Senator Hyde Smith and have requested a refund of our campaign contributions.
I think you already said that before I interrupted you because I like to do that.
I might have. AT&T had contributed $2,000 to Hyde Smith prior to November.
Why would AT&T give money to a nasty Republican?
I assume she was going to vote in their favor on things. I mean,
that's a good...
That's how our for-profit government works.
And that's what it is, too, for-profit.
Absolutely.
Look, I found some stuff for your TV show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So her campaign has not responded to a request for comment. Also today, a Facebook post Hyde Smith made in 2014 resurfaced. Oh, boy, I don't even know about this. Oh, showing her smilingly posing, wearing a Confederate cap and holding a rifle. Hyde Smith, who took the photo while visiting the home of Confederate States of America President Jefferson Davis, wrote, Mississippi history at its best, in a caption accompanying the image. Of course, it never occurred to her that would come back to haunt her. Why would it?
So he was from Mississippi, Jeff Davis, because the government was originally Montgomery, Alabama, moved to Richmond. He was a good friend of Franklin Pierce. They used to correspond during the war.
Yes. In addition to AT&T, Leidos, and Walmart, two other companies, Union Pacific and Boston Scientific, had already asked for their money back. All five companies acted after corporate contributions to the GOP incumbent were highlighted by the news site Popular Information, whose article about the donations was tweeted by Deborah Messing.
She has an extraordinary gift for a lack of sensitivity.
Hyde Smith or Deborah Messing?
Hyde Smith.
Yes. On November 2nd, Hyde Smith, this is the original incident, while attending a campaign stop in Tupelo, referred to a local rancher standing next to her and said that if he, quote, invited me to a public hanging, I'd be on the front row, unquote. Because she was asked about a public hanging of
lynching.
Mike Espy. Yes.
Mike Espy, that used to be the congressman from, and then he went into the cabinet.
Yeah, he was agriculture secretary.
But there was some scandal. Yeah, he was a moderate Democrat and a member of the NRA.
Yeah, it says here, Mississippi has a history of lynching African Americans, and Hyde Smith's opponent, Espy, is black. Espy spokesman Danny Blanton said, quote, Cindy Hyde Smith's comments have embarrassed Mississippi and shown why she can't be trusted to work with the businesses Mississippi needs to grow good-paying jobs. We are confident that voters will follow Walmart's lead and dump Cindy Hyde Smith before she has the power to do real damage to our economy. Yeah, you know what this reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
The macaca moment that what's his name had.
Yeah, but they've already had the election. Or are they having a runoff?
They're having a runoff on the 27th.
You can have a runoff for a congressional race? I know you do for governor and those races.
I mean every state's different. Every state's got their own rules.
Except you can't term limit Congress.
Right.
That was the Supreme Court.
Oh, George Allen, that was his name, the macaca guy.
George Allen II.
I didn't know that. Yes,
George Allen was a great football coach.
George Allen, who Sean Hannity said was going to be the next Ronald Reagan, and while running for, this would have been, this was more than a decade ago now, right?
Yeah.
George Allen, while running for re-election in, is it Virginia or West Virginia? Virginia. Someone from from the opposing campaign showed up and was video recording George Allen, and he sees the guy who apparently had some pigmentation to his skin, and said, "Oh, look, macaca is here. Welcome to our country, macaca." Because apparently it didn't occur to George Allen that saying something blatantly racist while someone from the opponent's campaign was recording you might be the worst possible idea ever. And then George Allen's political career, I don't know. I guess it just some good common sense not working too well in the head of George Allen, and he made his racist comment and then lost. And that was the end of the man of his career.
Aren't you a stickler for political correctness?
The man who Sean Hannity dubbed the next Ronald Reagan.
You know, a Russian has a word close to that too, meaning monkey.
Really?
Well, it's a common usage in Latin.
Yes.
Latin inflected languages.
Yeah.
I don't know where we...
George Allen did apologize, of course. He said that he didn't mean anything racist, which is what they always say, but it was pretty blatantly racist.
And if you don't know, now you know.
That's right, Biggie. Biggie agrees.
He does?
Yes.
Hey, what about Kim Kardashian West walking back, about her husband, saying that he doesn't really agree with Donald Trump on hardly anything?
Oh.
Haven't you been following that?
No,
story?
I haven't been paying as much attention to Yeezy.
You haven't?
No.
Well, it must be they're taking an economic hit.
that may very well be.
That's the only reason,
Ooh, Trump has submitted his answers.
He has.
His written answers to Robert Mueller. This is actually a big moment in the Russia probe, the Mueller probe, whatever you want to call it.
What you gonna do?
The witch hunt. It is a witch hunt, of course, obviously. To believe otherwise is simply un-American. I'm kidding, of course. Trump
irritates me. I was at a party, and people were talking about witches in Salem and saying that, it's just because they were outspoken, this or that. And I'm saying, they were witches. Why can't people accept the fact that people are women and men, because there's no such thing as a warlock, are witches? I find it incredibly hurtful.
Well, that's upsetting.
So you're talking about witch hunts?
Yes.
Are you trying to be hurtful?
I am, actually. I'm very insensitive. We have some comments from
grossly insensitive.
We have some comments on from Trump on the matter. Not
I have
witches.
Tears in my eyes to go along with the bow of my britches. It's been a terrible day for me.
Oh my goodness!
I have to roll around in the snow.
Well, that'll be fun.
Hey, there's a Board of Aldermen meeting. Maybe I can go there, and I have good use of my refuse.
Oh.
I don't know. If the lawyers have them, I don't know. They will.
They will. Oh, yeah.
The written answers to the witch hunt that's been going on forever. No collusion, no nothing. They've been finished. Finished them yesterday. The lawyers have them. I assume they'll turn them in today or soon.
So they were turned in. Says Trump has submitted his written answers to questions related to the Russia investigation to special counsel Robert Mueller. The president's legal team announced Tuesday. Jay Sekulow, one of Trump's outside lawyers, says, quote, the president today answered written questions submitted by the special counsel's office. The questions presented dealt with issues regarding the Russia-related topics of the inquiry. The president responded in writing, unquote. Well, there's no turning back now.
Donald says to Ivanka, until the 12th of never.
Well, that's nice.
Girl, I'll love you. You never did get to Ivanka.
No, we haven't gotten to that yet,
Our
but
favorite
we will.
first daughter.
Yes.
Who was a superior hiney, according to her father.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
But this is a big moment. The questions have been submitted.
He always enjoyed putting his little girl in his lap.
Oh, yes.
We have photographic evidence, folks. Evidence?
Giuliani says Mueller's office has been provided with more than 30 witnesses, 1.4 million pages of material.
Office?
No, he said Mueller's office. Giuliani said Mueller's office has been provided with more than 30 witnesses, 1.4 million pages of material, and now the president's written responses to questions.
Bust my butt.
This is a big moment. This is a big turning point.
Until the 12th of never.
There's no going back now.
Is he going to pardon Ivanka? You know, with a good keister like that, God knows what's going to happen to her in jail.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Well, you mentioned it. Trump says Ivanka emails are fake news, and nothing like the Clinton controversy, apparently.
They aren't.
No.
Because Hillary is a wicked, wicked person.
Lock her up, yes.
Lock her up.
That's right.
Lock her up with Ivanka.
Oh, right. They can hang out together. They can be besties. Trump today. Oh, actually, we have some audio of this, don't we?
We need a rap song about that.
Trump talking about what a rap song about Ivanka's rump?
No, about her and
I'm sure there is one.
Her and Hillary, lock them up.
Oh, right.
I'm thinking of a 2 Live Crew song, so we can't use that.
No, certainly not. Here's some audio.
Just so you understand, early on, and for a little period of time, Ivanka did some emails.
She did.
They weren't classified like Hillary Clinton. They weren't deleted like Hillary Clinton, who deleted 33. She wasn't doing anything to hide her emails. I looked at it just very briefly today, and the presidential records, they're all in presidential records. There was no hiding. There was no deleting like Hillary Clinton did. There was no servers in the basement like Hillary Clinton had. You're talking about a whole different, you're talking about all fake news. So what Ivanka did, it's all in the presidential records. Everything is there. There was no deletion. There was no nothing. What it is a false story. Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails. She had a server in the basement. That's the real story.
Wow.
That's the real story.
Yes.
Does anybody know about parking in downtown during snow? Because I have to do a show from 7 to 8. You know, that show?
You're fine. 7 to 8.
Down here?
Yeah, you
on
can.
either side of the road?
I think so.
Really?
The odd even parking doesn't start until December.
Until December.
Yes.
Daddy will still.
So I don't know what Trump is saying is fake news. He keeps saying it's fake news.
It is fake news.
But then he goes on to justify what Ivanka did. So
it is fake news.
But it can't be both fake news. It can't be both because fake news implies that it's not true. But clearly it is true if he's defending it.
Expletive, a bull, expletive deleted.
Oh, my
goodness. That's what fake means.
Well,
it's not the real news that we all care about. The perfidy of the Clintons. Oh, let's not go there.
This probably isn't going anywhere, this particular story.
Ward 13 is Love, my show, which is going to be on with Dr. Jeff Cassell.
Yes, for those of you watching on Facebook Live, you can see a sneak preview of the opening graphic. Ward 13 is Love. Why is Ward 13 Love?
It just is. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Ward 13 is love, and love is forever.
Wow.
That's not to say Ward 13 will go on forever, but
no, I mean,
it
it's
will.
only an hour show.
Oh, IPM Nation, it might go on forever until maybe you go bankrupt.
In perpetuity.
They seize all your assets.
Oh, my goodness. I hope not.
One of those incidents.
Well, I did have some emails, some classified emails that I was careless with. I used my AOL account.
I got, somebody went after my emails about 5 years ago. Me and Joseph Lavasser. But
oh, my goodness.
I never got them because they didn't exist, which is absolutely true. There were no emails.
Oh.
A certain Ayatollah went into court looking for them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, says here, the Washington Post set off a firestorm of controversy around Ivanka Trump when it reported that she used a personal email account shared with her husband. Oh, they share an email. That's so cute. And top White House advisor Jared Kushner to correspond with administration officials.
Just like what's her name, who was married to the perverted congressman. What's her name? Huma.
Huma Abedin, yes.
I've told you about Huma, but I can't repeat it.
Yes.
No Debbie Wasserman Schultz, her.
Is Anthony Weiner in prison right now?
Is his real name Weiner or Wiener?
Weiner.
Or Viner?
Weiner with a W.
Well, W is pronounced with a V. Sometimes a V is pronounced with a B. So it could be Beaner. Which that would,
that's a racist term.
Oh, yeah. I'm very good when it comes to racism.
Yes.
Yeah, as a wasp.
Right.
It's cautery. It's not cautery.
I've always said cautery.
Cautery.
Not that that's a word that I've used like all the time, but
since you've left,
on the rare occasion that I've said it,
since you've left Norm's entourage, you really don't have any use for the word, do you?
That's true. We got to get this in because it is almost Thanksgiving. Reason.com has a story up that says, go ahead and pack your weed this Thanksgiving. The TSA probably won't find it. The TSA's policy is to report any weed they find to local law enforcement, but they'll have to notice it first. Says the Transportation Security Administration says this Thanksgiving season could be its busiest on record. More than 25 million people will board flights. The agency expects an increase of 7% from 2017. With that in mind, the agency wants to make sure passengers know ahead of time what they can and cannot take through security. Turkeys are fine as long as they're frozen, as are pies and even vegetable peelers. Banned items include the usual suspects: pocket knives, firearms, explosives, and more than 3.4 ounces of most gels and liquids, etc.
They won't be looking for explosives this year?
Only if it's more than 3.4 ounces.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not TSA...
Makes me feel better.
Yes, whether or not they will actually find such items in your carry-on luggage is another question.
That's freedom.
That's right.
Yeah.
A survey from Stratos Jets, a company that coordinates private plane charters, suggested the answer is probably no. Stratos said it surveyed 1,001 travelers who admitted to smuggling some type of illicit substance or prohibited item onto a plane.
Is sex illicit?
Yes.
Have you ever tried to smuggle sex on a plane?
No, I haven't. How dare you? On domestic flights, 87.7% were not caught. The success rate for travelers flying internationally was slightly lower at 80.4%. So what were these passengers trying to smuggle? A lot of weed, apparently. Quote, of those surveyed, 36.7% of men and 22.8% of women reported bringing cannabis on a flight in defiance of the law, unquote.
Oh, my God.
It's true.
They're just subverting the entire fabric of this American democracy.
I know. It's frightening. It's not necessarily illegal to bring cannabis onto a plane if you're boarding in a place where recreational cannabis is permitted. Los Angeles International Airport, for example, allows anyone 21 and over to carry limited amounts of cannabis. That's interesting. But since cannabis is still illegal under federal law, the TSA's policy is to report any cannabis they find to local law enforcement, even if there's nothing police can do about it. If the TSA can find it, of the people who admitted to bringing cannabis on their flight, just 42.9% of men and 25.7% of women reported being caught by the TSA, airport, or airline personnel. Edibles are I'm not surprised by this. Edibles are the easiest to bring aboard. 78.5% of people who tried to smuggle them weren't caught, followed by buds and leaves, 68.8%. After cannabis, the most common unauthorized items confessed to smuggling were prescription drugs and weapons and ammunition. Oh, boy.
Weapons?
Yes. Just over 25% of women.
That's not freedom.
And 19% of men said they brought prescription drugs aboard when they weren't supposed to. Meanwhile, 8.5% of women and 15.2% of men admitted to smuggling weapons or ammunition, which reminds me of something.
I once tried to smuggle an elf in, and I realized that America has a ban on foreign midgets. Can we use the word midget?
That's why you gotta put that in your
we had
suitcase.
This discussion about midgetry.
Yes.
And I can't remember how we handled it when you were on Manchester Public TV.
I believe they're called Elfin Americans.
Well, elf is an elf.
Right.
This wasn't an elfin American. This was an elf.
They're all the same.
I can show you the picture with the ears and they have the aura was intense too.
What I'm wondering is, aren't we like long overdue for a celebrity to try to get a gun onto a plane?
Or cocaine in a shave in their shaving can.
Yes,
that was
yes.
Stacey Keach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't want to go to England without his coat.
But for a while, it's like every couple of years there'd be a major celebrity trying to get a gun onto a plane. Like Peter Criss of Kiss once did that, or Eddie Van Halen once tried to sneak a gun onto a plane.
Plastic. You can
DMX,
you
the
can
rapper,
bring them right on.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
If you got a 3D printer, you're all
you're
good to go.
set,
Yeah.
That's freedom.
So there you go. If you're planning to bring some cannabis onto a plane, there is hope for you this Thanksgiving. And that's something to be thankful for.
Cannabis ought to be legalized.
Of course.
It's ridiculous.
Of course.
I can't believe, I was talking to you during a break that the antidepressants industry is $20 billion. There's all the different ones from 12 to 20 billion bucks. You'd be better off with PTSD just smoking some indica, some cannabis.
Yeah.
But, oh, my God.
Well, we're getting there, though. I mean, we are. Look, I mean, there's a lot of progress. More and more states have legalized, and inevitably, I mean, even Trump, Mr. Law and Order, has expressed an openness to some sort of federal legalization. So I think we'll get there.
Well, I took
it's inevitable.
You're going to I always mispronounce it. Psilocybin?
Psilocybin,
yeah. The wonders of dyslexia. That treats PTSD, and it treats treatment-resistant depression very well. And I don't know, did we already talk about that earlier in the show? Or did I just say that to you before?
That might have been off air.
Right. Well, we can talk about it another time. But it's ridiculous. They're fast-tracking it now. They have the FDA, and they say it could be legal by 2021.
Yeah.
But Denver is going to have a proposition where it's decriminalized.
Jenny just sent me a story from CBSNews.com. Massachusetts mayor first in line as recreational cannabis sales begin because they finally went full legal in Massachusetts. It says here, Mass became the first state on the East Coast to allow recreational marijuana sales, meaning tens of millions of adult consumers, including those in New York City, are now within a 3-hour drive from a pot shop. CBS News correspondent Tony Dokopil reports from Northampton, Massachusetts, where one of the 2 stores opening in the state is located and where David Narkowitz will welcome legal recreational marijuana as both the ceremonial first customer and the town's mayor. By the way, so the guy's last name is Narkowitz. So Kevin Baker, do you know Kevin? He used to do a show on Channel 23 years ago.
No, I don't.
Kevin Baker posted something, and I wasn't sure if he was serious or not. He posted something on Facebook earlier where he said the first cannabis customer in Massachusetts, his last name is Narkowitz, because narc, it's just kind of funny. And I didn't know if he was kidding or not when he posted that, or if he was making a joke. Apparently it's legit. The guy's last name is Narkowitz. He said, quote, "I think there's a lot going on here in trying to bring marijuana out of the shadows," unquote. But when asked whether the purchase is simply ceremonial or it will be consumed, Narkowitz said, quote, "I'm actually going to probably preserve it and display it because it is historically significant," unquote. Massachusetts is the 7th state to open retail marijuana shops, but the first to open them the east of the Mississippi. The milestone comes as the cannabis industry celebrates a series of new highs. I see what you did there, CBS News. Earlier this month, Michigan became the first Midwestern state to approve recreational cannabis, joining 10 other states and Washington, D.C. In October, Canada became the first major world economy to legalize recreational cannabis. But the steady march of cannabis legalization has Dr. Sharon Levy concerned. She runs the Adolescent Substance Use and Addiction Program at Boston Children's Hospital. She said, quote, "Instead of saying, we'll assume these things are safe until they're proven harmful, maybe we should be saying these things might be harmful until they're proven safe. I don't think that's something we've done a very good job with," unquote. Oh, my God. So she sounds like one of these people who watched Reefer Madness and doesn't get why it's so unintentionally hilarious. And whether it's safe or not, ultimately, the government never had the right to outlaw it. It was based on a bunch of BS, never should have been done. It happened largely because the paper industry didn't want people using hemp as a replacement for paper. So it's not, it's not a matter of our elected overlords and lawgivers actually know what's best for us. It was all done for economic reasons. Just follow the money. Whenever something doesn't make sense, you follow the money. Let's see. Under Massachusetts law, retail shops can sell each consumer no more than an ounce of flour or 20 servings of edibles, both in child-resistant packaging. For now, those restrictions and others are good enough for Mayor Narkowitz. He said, quote, "There has been marijuana use going on in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for a long, long time. What's changing is it's now being regulated. It's now being tested. It's now being strictly monitored. That's really a major change that's happening," unquote. Wait a minute. Is he suggesting that even though it had been illegal, that millions of people were using it anyway? Oh, my goodness. Who would have thought?
They've committed sin.
It's almost like suggesting
Sinful.
that the war on drugs has been an abject failure.
Oh, and why isn't anybody talking about this war on opiates being just another part of the war on drugs?
I talk about that.
I can't use the word, get money, money, federal money. Let's get the money.
Money.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's led down the garden path by taking an oxycodone.
Now you know.
I think Biggie used to use a little bit of the reefer, if you know what I mean.
He did.
I think so. I think I read that somewhere.
It's worse than heroin.
I know.
We had a former mayor that said it was the gateway drug to heroin. I know. I smoke marijuana, and you see me shooting up right here.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, you don't put the camera on.
That's right.
Oh, geez, it's my right to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel free.
We should begin to wrap up. Do you have any heartwarming Thanksgiving stories before we go? We didn't really get to that today. Of course, we still have tomorrow. But
it was my forefathers went to Plymouth Colony in 1630.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have celebrated one of the original Thanksgivings and probably polished off a few Indians while they were at it.
I'm sure they did.
That's what makes America great.
Absolutely. Well, thank God for them.
They were the Red Devils.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Oh, God. They wouldn't, take the holy book or.
That's right.
As the gospel.
That's right. Yes.
Yes. That is the only question this Thanksgiving. Whether Jesus lives in your heart, and how much longer will it take for those babies to have yet another party in heaven when we finally get rid of another one of those liberal Supreme Court justices? We can all pray.
That's right. Well, as MC Hammer once said, you've got to pray just to make it today.
Gee, were truer words ever said?
No. Well, I mean, he didn't so much sing them as rap them.
He did?
Yes.
Oh, boy. I missed my calling.
What, you think you should have been a rapper?
Instead of rapping heads together in the Army.
No. All right.
Just remember, folks, Ward 13 tonight with Dr. Jeff Cassell, and the subject is Ward 13 is love. And no, this has nothing to do with Rich Girard.
Okay. That's on Channel 13, and we got to go. We're out of here. And if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'll talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
IPMNation.com.